This is Outdated, and welcome back to Outdated Reviews. And today I am going to look at Warhammer Fantasy Role-Play Starter Set. This is for the 4th edition of Warhammer Fantasy Role-Play. It's a pretty nice box. It says here at the bottom, take your first steps into a grim world of perilous adventure. So, just so you can get a look at the box and its size. We'll look at that. Let's do a quick size comparison. Earlier, a few episodes ago, we did Alien by Free League, right? So let's take a look at the size comparison. All right, the boxes are the same height and width. It's depth where it's different. Definitely the Alien box is thicker. So let's see why. Let's look at the back. Enter the grim world of perilous adventure. The Warhammer Fantasy Role-Play Starter Set contains everything needed to bring the Warhammer world to life. Whether playing for the first time or preparing for your next epic campaign, this box set is the perfect starting point for anyone interested in Warhammer Fantasy Role-Play. The adventure book invites players of all experience levels into the rich role-playing playground of Ubersreich. For beginners, an introductory adventure teaches the rules as you play. For experienced hands, there are another 10 scenarios aimed to expand your Wolfrup or Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay games, offering new locations, new characters, and new horrors to uncover. Accompanying this, a guide to Ubersreich highlights the bloody history and recent invasion of Ubersreich. It also examines more than 70 locations in the troubled town, detailing the surrounding fiefdoms, and introduces a wide array of dark cults plaguing the area. The Warhammer Fantasy Role-Play Starter Set contains everything you need to start an epic campaign. Read this first introduction sheet, 6 ready-made characters, the adventure book, a guide to Ubersreich, 3 rules reference sheets, 3 handout sheets, 49 advantage tokens, 4 highly detailed maps, 2 custom dice from Q Workshop, and a simple Game Master screen. It's time for a new chapter of unforgettable adventure. So it includes an exciting adventure that teaches the rules as you play and over 100 pages of scenarios, locations, history, and introductory rules. So they did a good job of selling me on this thing, and its MSRP is $30. That's pretty good. The Alien MSRP was $50. So let's see how it stacks up. All right, first off, the box is really sturdy. I'm not going to say it's as sturdy as the Free League Alien one, but it's very close. Very close. Oh, and on the inside we have... Okay, that's apparently the GM screen. So if I'm doing it like that, that's not much of a GM screen. I guess if all this was out, I could use it as a dice tray and the GM screen, but that's not much. That being said, if this is enough information to play with on a DM screen, or GM screen, that's good. But I think I'd probably like it better if it were wider, like if we did landscape style. But either way, far be it from me. Okay, what do we have here? Dice. This game uses 2 10-sided die. I guess the best way to describe it, if you're familiar with the basic mechanics of basic roleplay, so like Call of Cthulhu and stuff like that, it's like that. So first off, let's look at these dice. I don't know how well it's going to come in. Not bad. You can make out the numbers. It isn't confusing. I'm checking. Yeah, these are cut dice. They're not stamped. They're cut. That's nice. And you've got a 10s digit and a 1s digit, but nice. Okay, 88. And I think I remember in this one, if you roll doubles, it's a critical hit or a critical failure depending on your target number. But okay, so we got 2 dice. That's all you need. Here's our read this first. I've heard that Cubicle 7 likes this style, right? So what's in the box? You got a big section here. What is Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay or Wolfrup? Here's a big section here. More stuff in the box. I'm not going to read through all that. Here's some setting information here. Prepare to enter a grim world of bitter heroes and perilous struggles. Listen to lost and damned souls scream in anguished terror as chaos infects all like a malignant disease from which there is no cure. Watch as the earth, the air, the sea become so suffused with torturous magics that the very fabric of reality twists, warps, and is irrevocably changed. Come feel cruel loss as bygone sorceries that once kept the world safe are shattered, and the ancient chains they preserved crack under the strain of negligence. And now taste terror as the ruinous towers stir in the bowels of their demonic hells, sensing, finally, that the end is nigh, that the time to feast, to revel, and to slay has come, that the age of chaos has begun. Look now to the Reichland, the mightiest realm of the empire. It is a land at war, its noble houses vying for power and influence as their armies struggle to stem the tide of invading warlords, rampaging greenskins, mutant beastmen, and the monstrous creatures that haunt the wild places. Even at its heart, in its capital of Altdorf, violence rules. There, thieves, street rats, and smugglers slit throats for pennies, mirroring the deeds of their betters on the world stage. For the tide of corruption rises in the hearts of all, filthy and stained, driving even the strong to pursue forbidden lore and profane arts, to sacrifice their brothers and sisters on the altar of their own folly. Damnation is not a heartbeat away. It has already come. Yet, amidst this never-ending torrent of misery and desperation, there are those who would stand tall. There are those who dare face the end times and deny the inevitable entropy. They may not be good. They not be noble. They may not be kind. But they are the only heroes this damned world has, and by their grit, their tenacity, and their sheer bloody-minded determination, the fate of the world is decided. Damnation or salvation. Soon, all will know. This is a world of unsung heroes and fleeting glory. This is the world of Warhammer Fantasy Role-Play. And you have this pretty cool image down here. I like that you've got this with all this breakdown and stuff. That's cool. Now, what do we have? So I said in the review of Alien that there's certain things I expect to have in a starter set to get a 7 score or higher. 1, I need pre-generated characters I can use. 2, I need an adventure that we can play. 3, I need dice, right? I mean, you gotta have the dice. And 4, I need some sort of truncated, simplified version of the rules that helps me be able to play. Right, if I can get more than that, any of those, that's great. If I can get extra stuff, that's great. Product quality is great, but those are like the minimum for a 7, which as a teacher, I think of 7 out of 10 as a passing grade, right? So we've got our dice. We've got 3 left. And what do we have here? Salundra von Drakenberg. Looks to me like a pre-generated character. She's a human soldier. Here it's got some quotations. Don't worry, we'll fix this. More is coming for us all. Might as well have a drink. A promise made is a promise kept. And for Drakenberg, right? And there's a bunch of, like, who they are and all that. Like, if you're going to roleplay this character. And here we've got the character sheet explanation, the character's background, and the actual character sheet right there. This is nice. I like this setup. If you like to use pre-generated characters, as always with starter sets, I prefer to not actually use these to write on. I like to keep them nice, but nonetheless, who's next? I'm not going to like read everything in all of them, but Gunnar Hrolfsson. He's a dwarf. A dwarf slayer. So I guess like Buffy, but very, very, very short and with a mohawk and, you know. But either way, nice. So we've got our pre-generated characters. Who's this? Molrella Brandy Snap. Looks like a halfling to me. Same stuff. So each character or each player has like some basic rule stuff and some understanding of who their character is right out of the box. I think there's a couple approaches. You can like keep them a blank slate, or you can give them stuff. I think like for people who are role playing and you're really into it for the role playing, then this kind of gives you a lot of stuff to work with to determine like what your character's going to be like. Even if you're new, I could see that being a benefit, not to mention experienced. There's something to be said for, oh wait, I never named them. Elsa Sigloben, a human witch hunter. Did I actually describe this one? I did not. Amorous Emberfell, high elf merchant. Did I do this one? I did not. Ferdinand Gruber, a human wizard. Nice scythe, dude. And that's it. Those are the pre-generated characters. Let's see how many we have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 pre-generated characters. Plenty. Okay, now we have the adventure book. So let's take a look at this. This is some pretty nice paper. Glossy. The cover's thick. The inside paper is reasonably thick too. So what we have here is a grim world of perilous adventure, blah, 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 blah. Okay, the adventure is actually called Making the Rounds. I'll probably do a review of this adventure at some point, but it's a way to introduce players to the game system. So you have like events that happen, and then you have like the rules for those events on the same or right next to a page. That's good. Really, I love the art. Mostly color art, which is good being at 2023. There is something to be said for black and white art. I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but I think it depends. Like this is, so far it's basically, oh hey, I was about to say it's all color, but here we go, black and white. But at that point you've earned it, you know? That's color. Yeah, just a little bit of black and white here and there, not much. There's a lot of adventure, and even after the adventure's done, interestingly. This is a saddle stapled book, by the way. Oh, a saddle stapled book that is, oh, references on the back, nice. Basically 47 pages, 46 pages, saddle stapled there. The adventure itself, for the most part, is 31 pages. Then it has some more smaller, like, reasonable adventure seeds that are about 2 pages each. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, now these are just 1 page. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Then there's all the NPCs they could meet. And conditions. So you've got an adventure you can start with, and I'll review that in the future. And it has a bunch of little like well-planted, slightly growing plants of adventures you can go with. 10 more of them. That's pretty nice. So when I do the review of this more thoroughly, when I review just the adventure and adventures in this booklet, we'll go into more details. So what else do we have in this box set? A guide to Uberstrike. Come on, a guide to Uberstrike. You can do it. Come on. Okay, so this, as you can tell, is a perfect bound, right? Love the background. Let's take a look at how big this is. 64 pages. Let's see. And lo, like black bile from the world's aching belly, the end times rise. Mark the day, the broken king atop his throne of lies casts down the last house of joy. Then, and only then, shall he come the final moment. Shall he come the final moment, the scourge of all, as the great fortress is abandoned and friend turns to foe. Sorry, I can read at some point. The great axis around which the wheel of change turns shall turn southwards, and the light of unborn stars will fall upon us. And so shall the realm of mortals quake, For the gnawing rift at the heart of reality shall wax, and all that is good will come to naught. For the ever-chosen comes, and all is lost. From Celatine Book of Divinations, Necrodomo the Insane from 1587 IC, which is a year. So this Guide to Ubersreich has some really nice art and flavor text in the first few of these couple pages. But then you start getting into Ubersreich, and it tells you the history. We're going through some history here. Big timeline. More history. Again with the nice art. Here's the visitor's guide. Now this gets interesting. It tells you specific areas. Like here, the Artisan's Quarter. It tells you a building, like say Bridge House Inn. After it's done describing it, it gives you 2 little adventure seeds for that location. Then Carpenter's Guild, 2 more. Cordelia's Apothecary, 2 more. And that's location, 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 location. Every location, these are all locations, give you a couple of adventure seeds for each one. There is enough stuff in here. If you're an experienced GM and you're experienced at running adventures you create yourself, and you know a little bit about Warhammer, it's grim and perilous with quirky humor, because there's definitely some humor going on. This could last you a long time. Like, you could play out of this for quite some time. Now, it doesn't give you character generation rules, unfortunately. It does not do that. It gives you the pre-gens. Now, like I said, that is kind of something that I feel everything needs to have, is pre-gens. So, let's see. But the amount of adventure seeds in this alone are just absolutely insane. Now, and then now we get to the province of Ubersreich. So we're kind of going out a little farther, and we're looking at the different major areas in Ubersreich. And do that. Yep, they also have 2 adventure seeds each. So you can even expand outside of that area. Here's handouts from different things. Some dark cults that exist that you could use in your story. There's a lot here. The art is really nice. Okay, looks good. Let's keep going. What are these? Okay, these look like rules handouts. Let's go ahead and get all of those out at once. Okay, it looks like there's 3 of them. This, you have attributes and skills reference sheet. Tests reference sheet. So these are things that either the DM or the players could use to help keep up. Combat reference sheet. Injury reference sheet. Conditions reference sheet. And an introduction to Ubersreich and the Empire. So like a really quick, short, like, history lesson. What do we have here? Oh, okay. This is the town of Ubersreich and its surroundings, the Game Master's map, with numbered and a key, right? Then we go here, same thing, but it's the actual province. This is a lot of stuff. It's a lot of really nice stuff. And this is some thick cardstock, too. It will hold up. Okay, this is the same, except it's the player's version. So it doesn't have a key or anything. But it's a nice map. Oh, upside down. A nice map for them to look at and reference. Okay, what do we have here? We're almost there. Okay. Handouts for the adventures. Again, this thick cardstock. I mean, you could use these, but like the tendency is to like cut them up and give them just the part that they get. I would argue that it might be better to make Xeroxes or photocopies of these, cut those out and leave these nice. Super thick cardstock here. Several handouts. And even a going shopping thing. Nice. Got a thing of tokens. Some of these have all fallen out. You know these punch boards and how they are. but it's tokens to attract specific things. And a sheet on how to continue your adventure with rough nights and hard days. I actually have that. It's a short campaign that takes place in Ubersreich. And on the back we have advertisements for their video games. Warhammer The End Times of Vermintide and Warhammer Vermintide 2. Both quite good if you like Left 4 Dead style. And here you've got a really nice map and some of the tokens that fell. Okay, so let's go ahead and put all this back in. So you've got your advertisement, you got your tokens, you got your amazing handouts on poster board, your player and GM's map, your reference sheets, all 3 of them, your guide to Ubersreich, the adventure book, 6 pre-generated characters in portfolio style. Read this first. 10-sided dice, and when it said a starting screen, the box is the screen. Not a big fan of that, but I do see the logic of having like a dice tray built in and all that. If it were landscape, might be a little better, but you know, like one of the first things you buy after this is either the core rules or the screen, the real screen. So let's take a look at this thing and let's put a score on it. So, as you know, I rate things on a 0 to 10 score. To me, 7 is passing. For a passing starter set, you need a simplified version of the rules that I can comprehend. It had that. That was in the adventure book. It literally taught you as you played. You have to have dice. It had that. Pre-gens, it had that. And it had to have... yeah, I'm forgetting something. Okay, let's do that again. Dice, yes. Pre-gens, yes. An adventure, that was it. And rules. You had all of that and a lot more. This easily gets a 7. It gets more than a 7. I would have to give Warhammer Fantasy Role-Play Starter Set 4th Edition by Cubicle 7 an 8.5 out of 10. It's just out of being a 9. I mean, if I had like a more traditional screen, that might help. There's a few things, like as someone who's read through the whole thing, there's some times when the grim and perilous tone is worked against by the humor. Some of the humor is perfect. It's like pop culture references that it fits with this sort of thing. But some of it is like really odd stuff, like how your grim and perilous and scary character likes being tickled, right? Like that's what? You know, that doesn't fit the tone real well. But overall, this is really good. I highly recommend it. And when I read it, I understood the rules and how the game worked. First time through, no problem. I mean, it's literally just a number between 0 and 100. You roll the percentage dice, you roll that number or below. Done, right? So I highly recommend this, 8.5 out of 10, and I hope you enjoyed this video. If so, please like and subscribe. Hit that notification bell if you're interested, and you know that, yeah, that's what the bell icon does. And I will continue to upload some videos here and there about RPG stuff. I hope to do some actual adventure reviews like I will with this one at some point. But, oh, and I forgot to mention our sponsor and the fact that I don't have one. So, I will see you on the next episode. Peace.